So let's start. Let's start with Milan's formation. Salamakers is not available because he's going to be out on a suspension. Now, the possible player to substitute the player that makes the most sense to substitute Castillejo in the hierarchy of a team. Sorry, Salamakers is Castillejo. So most likely we will see Castillejo play on the right tomorrow. I don't see why he would change the formation that he used against Juventus. It worked perfectly. The players are energized. We have to assume, and based on most of the probable formations that all the reporters have been putting out, it's going to look something like this. It can be either Chiar or Romagnoli. We don't know yet. I don't think it's going to be much difference, one or the other. If it was me, I would go with the same formation because I just ride this wave. And this formation right now, especially this defensive unit, is super spot on and very well connected. Diaz as the number 10 worked beautifully. I think Pioli in training has identified that the player is ready to be a starter. Right now, with the absence of Ibrahimovic, it is the right choice to put Diaz in the center. Chala can play in that position on the left, as he has done many times. Castillejo on the right, Rebic up top as the lone striker. This formation here is a very solid formation, a lot of quality, and you even have the speed on this side with Castillejo coming in. So we're probably expecting to see, the usual 4-2-3-1. Now, as far as Torino play with this 5-3-2. You know what? We really got to watch out for Torino is Ansaldi. Ansaldi is the player that attacks the most in Torino. He's the Argentinian left back. And he is usually the driving force that brings the ball forward in Torino. You will see Ansaldi always come up in this area and put dangerous crosses. He was always coming in. And if you look at Torino, this is what the probable formations say. It could be slightly different. But if you really look at this squad, and if you know of these players, you can see that most of the quality is on this side. Ansaldi, Verdi, and Belotti. So you have to think that Pioli is looking to stop this side and looking to have an eye on this side, especially Ansaldi, because if you stop Ansaldi, they don't have much attacking viability. That's where most of their attacks come from. That transition from their side of the field to this side of the field happens most of the time with Ansaldi. Verdi is a quality midfielder, so he will help in that department. Obviously, you have Belotti, the Torino, the only really superstar Torino has. On the other side, you have Rincon, which is more of a defensive midfielder, and you have Sanabria, which is a new striker. It would most likely be either him or Zaza. Not that different. Zaza may be a player that is a little bit unreliable, but he does have speed, so you got to watch out for Zaza on the counterattack. So I'm pretty sure that Pioli is looking at that. Then you have Singo, very interesting player. He has been doing well. You can also get Rodriguez. They have, we know Rodriguez. Rodriguez could play in that position as well. So it is going to be a cagey affair. And then you have Mandragora. Mandragora is the regista. Basically, that's the heart of Torino. Basically, when Mandragora has the ball, he's the player that slows down the game and allows Torino to reorganize. So you can easily identify who they need to stop. It's going to be a pretty, on paper, it's a pretty simple task. Okay, it's a pretty simple task. You stop this side of the field. You get Calabria to stay on Ansaldi. If Calabria can stay on Chiesa and Ronaldo, there's no reason why he can't stay on Ansaldi. You got to watch out for Belotti, because Belotti has these these very interesting through balls where he can find some very tight channels out of nowhere. So these kind of plays like this. So we got to really be careful with Belotti, and we got to know that that's what he does. You know, if that's how they should stop this team, by stopping, by closing down the channels in containment, the same way they did against Juve. And you got to imagine that most of the time, you know, the ball is going to be on Milan's feet. So, you know, when the ball is going to be on Milan's feet, Torino is going to play with a defensive 5, 3 in the middle, 1, 2, 3, just like that. You're going to have Belotti that is going to be roaming on this side. You have Zaza that is roaming on this side. You're going to have a lot of space. We're going to see a lot of space for Tio and Calabria. Both Tio and Calabria are going to be big parts of this game, because they're going to give this side of the field, and we've seen this every time there's a 5-3-2 formation. This side of the field is always open. So you get this side of the field, you're going to have Calabria do these overlaps, and you're going to have these situations when that Calabria and whoever is going to be on this wing is going to have a lot of chances to come in through the wings, Theo especially, of course, and create dangerous situations. You know, the middle is going to be compact. They're going to have, pretty good defensive players. Now, speaking of defense, Torino is missing their best defender, Nkulu. So Nkulu is not playing. And then they're missing their second best defender, which is Izzo. So right now, you know, without Nkulu, without Izzo, you have Bremer, Lineker, Buongiorno. That is a second. That is your second choice defense. Torino is playing with their second choice defense. You have to imagine that Çalhanoğlu, who can play in between the lines, Diaz can play in between the lines, and you even have Rebic that can play in between the lines. You have Teo coming on this side. You have Castillo. Castillo does not play in between the lines too well, but he can play on the periphery very well. He can play on the periphery very well. So it's going to be a lot of choices, a lot of options for Milan to score. They're going to keep the ball most of the time. But in these kind of situations, we got to watch out for those counterattacks. So it's going to be a very, very interesting thing. We got to make sure that we don't send Belotti in his counterattacks and we don't send Zaza in his counterattacks. This is a game of quality. Quality is going to win this game. Quality is going to win this game. We have to show that we are the better team. We have to impose the game. We have to play those quick 1-2s into the channels, into the spaces, and then test the goalkeeper, Sinico. Remember, they do not have their best defense. Buongiorno is a second choice. Lineker is second choice. Bremer is the only one that is usually in the starting lineup. Now, they do in the midfield, they seem to have everybody at disposal. They have also Linetti, the Polish guy. They have Baselli, who was very interesting. All players that are decent players, but quality-wise, Milan is way superior. Most of the game is probably going to look like this. It's going to probably look like this. So we have to make sure that when it doesn't look like this, when all this mass of players on the other side, and guess what, guys? Now, you see, I've seen Torino, and I've seen what Torino looks like when you counter Torino. When you counter Torino, and I saw this against Napoli. Napoli is a very technical team, so you can assume, and Napoli also plays a similar formation, so you can assume the same kind of things are going to happen. When Torino are caught in the counterattack, this is what Torino looks like. I'll show you in a second. When they have their whole team up top, this is what Torino looks like in the counter. They have their 3 players here, and they have the tip of a diamond right there. So they have a diamond. It's a diamond, basically. When you catch them in the counterattack, Torino looks like a diamond, and they leave a lot of space on the side. They're going to have a lot of space on the side. So it's not going to be that hard to take advantage of that space if we do it with quality if we do it with purpose, with fire, with the desire to win, you know, we can find the spaces, because they leave a lot of space when you catch them on the counterattack. And with Rebic as the center forward, I'm confident the guy can do what he needs to do. Diaz can slip into the middle of that diamond and play the way he needs to. Çalhanoğlu can play on the side and in the middle. And then Castillejo on the middle, and Theo can play through. So on the counterattack, we should be able to score, you know, easily if we do it correctly, if we do it with the right purpose, with the right fire. And you have to imagine that we are going to have counterattack situations. They are going to happen. I mean, not all the time, because most of the time Milan is going to have the ball, but the counterattack situations have to happen. They have to happen. And when those happen, those are going to be key moments. They're going to be key moments of the game, because we have the quality to completely, you know, dismantle this you know, second choice defense. This game is a game that we should be able to win. The only way we can lose this game is if we lose it. They can't beat us. We can only beat ourselves if we make the wrong choices, if the players don't go in with the right approach. But tactically, the formula is there. It works. The players all make sense. It works. The space is going to be there. We have to watch out for their more dangerous players. Like I said, you stop Ansaldi, you stop Belotti, you stop Torino.